Recording in progress. Recording in progress.
Yes, we're coming.
You have all three.
You have all three?
You have all of those?
Yep.
David, you're the man.
These are pre-hearing notice.
What about Kim Lester?
Early distribution.
All right. Good deal. Kevin, are we ready?
I'm sorry, ready when it needs to be.
Okay, great. The meeting is called to order, Southampton Town Planning Board, Thursday, December 12th, 2024. The secretary will call the roll.
Chair LaFaro is absent, Vice Chair Finnerty.
Present.
Secretary is here. Board Member Muto.
Present.
Board Member Neely.
Present.
Board Member Fulham is absent. Board Member Glazer.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Very good. Could you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In light of our sparse attendance, I'll just advise in the event of emergency, please exit this room utilizing either of the two rear doors, proceed to the main floor using either staircase, and in this case, because of construction, exit this building using the front door only. I think we'll go in order. The first application is for 32 South Phillips. Do we have notice, council?
We don't on 32 yet.
No notice? Is there anyone from?
I have taken them in this afternoon before 4 o'clock. I gave them to Kieran Myers.
I don't have anything. Kristen's going to check.
Oh, she went to check.
If you want to take the next one.
Okay, we'll locate those documents. The next one is a CVEUS. Do we have,
We going out of order? Yes.
okay. And George, I think you're reading that.
Please take notice that in accordance with local law number 14 of 2022, a public hearing will be held by the Southampton Town Planning Board on Thursday, December 12th, 2024 at 6 p.m. at Town Hall 116 Hampton Road, Southampton, and via video conferencing to consider the pre-submission conference application entitled CVE US NY West Hampton 243 LLC. The application is for the installation of an approximately 10 megawatt commercial scale solar facility in two phases of 5 megawatts each. Each phase will be composed of approximately 11,155, is that correct? Solar panels, and a three-phase transformer at mined property in the CR 200 zoning district at 80 Sunrise Highway and a no address lot, Remsenberg's, Beyonk, and West Hampton. Suffolk County Tax Map numbers 900-276-3-1 and 2.
Very good. Welcome.
Good evening. The applicant, David Gilmore Jr., Greenberg Troy, 2317 Montauk Highway, Bridgehampton, New York. And tonight I'm with Stephen Engelman of CVE, who I'll ask to come up in a minute, and he's going to give you the background of the company and what they've done, and then run quickly through what is a pretty straightforward site plan. So as the legal advertisement indicates, we're here for a pre-submission conference. So it won't be an extensive presentation tonight, and we'll look to hear what the public has to say. For background, this property is located off of Spionk Riverhead Road, bounded on one side by Old Country. Let's get this upside down. Old Country on one side and Sunrise Highway on the other. It's currently a DEC permitted sand mine. It's located partially in the compatible growth and partially in the core preservation area of the Pine Barrens. We did make application to the Pine Barrens Commission and received approval from them for this project on June 26, 2024. As the legal advertisement indicates, its property is located in the CR 200 zoning district, but it is a permitted use based on the zoning code fact that it's in an opportunity area which identifies sand mines as places to locate solar, and I think there are a couple of other sections under that part of the code that we could fit under based on the previous disturbance of the property. So it is permitted under zoning. So I'll ask Stephen to come up and give you what I told him should be a very quick background and then a quick run through the site plan.
Great.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Stephen Engelman. I'm here with CVE North America, community solar energy developer based in New York. Quick background on the company. CVE is an independent power producer, essentially build community solar projects throughout the Northeast, New York State, and into the Midwest. Typically, we try to build projects where energy is needed most, in kind of commercial and residential areas where we can develop energy, green energy projects, feed it into the grid under existing laws like we have here in New York State that allows that energy to then be distributed to the grid. And the program of community solar is where residential off-takers can purchase the green energy at a discount to their in this case PSEG utility bill. We've got about 105 megawatts under operation right now throughout Massachusetts, New York State, and into Pennsylvania. We've got another 400 that are in development right now, 400 megawatts of projects in development. Most of those are for community solar projects. In some states, we don't have community solar laws. We build different types of projects. So CVE has been, designs, engineers, builds, and operates and manages these projects long term. Is our business model really to build and own these projects for long term. So I can answer any questions about community solar, about CVE. We have a lot of experience throughout the Northeast with communities like this, with utilities across 9 different states that we're developing projects in right now for the interconnection of clean energy, green projects.
Can you explain the community part of the solar? Did I
Sure.
hear you say you can purchase them?
Yeah, so community solar is it came down to a law that's in New York State that the utilities then participate in. And what happens is we send energy into the grid, and that energy is measured. And then PSEG allows residential off-takers to essentially purchase that energy. So it's really a billing mechanism. It's not really about where the electrons go. So you can purchase the green energy at a discount from which you would buy it from PSEG. The idea is that it's an equitable way to be able to put green energy onto the grid and allow folks that would not normally, develop a solar project on their house or on their rental home to be able to participate in the benefits of clean energy. So community solar is a program where folks would subscribe to the system at no cost to subscribe and no cost to exit. It's really just opt in, opt out, and you would buy a certain amount of energy every year under this program. It typically will save a residential customer about 10% of their electricity bill by buying the green energy project, the output of that green energy project, as opposed to buying it directly from the utility.
There's a current project here in the town,
Okay.
and people subscribed, but there was no cost. They just got a financial benefit.
Right.
Meaning a reduction of
Exactly.
10% in their utility bill for the, I guess, the distributed energy part.
Correct.
I hear you saying you can buy it. I'm saying this is a discount.
Yes. Okay. I think we're kind of saying the same thing in different ways. You get a discount. You're essentially you're purchasing through your utility bill green energy at a discounted rate as opposed to buying energy from the utilities' power plants is kind of the idea. It's not an additional cost; it's a reduced cost because you're let's just say you're using the green energy kilowatt hours as opposed to the fossil fuel energy megawatt hours.
And how would you share that benefit?
So we aggregate customers in the local area. So we try to find folks, in this case in the town of Southampton, residential off-takers. We typically target low to moderate income subscribers if we can. So we kind of target our efforts there to reach out through really through PSEG. They have
That's I think that's the tariff that they have that this fits into.
Correct. Yeah. We're definitely talking about the same thing. So we work with aggregators that will find residential off-takers that want to subscribe into the program and buy energy for a period of time from green energy as opposed to buying it from the utility. Does that
When
make
I
sense?
hear buy, it
Yeah.
sounds like it's costing me something,
Okay.
but in fact, what you're offering is a community benefit.
Correct. A discount on your utility bill. Yeah.
Thank you.
Our report says that proposed transformers and meters and enclosures are not on the property. They're located along a private right-of-way that crosses the properties owned by the Suffolk County Water Authority. The equipment will be located in the right-of-way on private property. Do you have owner's endorsements or confirmation that you have rights to locate your equipment there?
So where the equipment would be located, we have equipment that would be located on our leased area. Other equipment that would be tying into the utility poles would be on an easement that we would set up with the utility along Spionk Riverhead Road. So I think we'd be in a utility easement area out by the utility poles would be where that would be located.
So you're locating it in the easement area. Is there any documentation that's required to confirm that you have rights to that? Or?
So the landowner that we're leasing from has rights to that right of way. So
Okay.
we would be setting up our own agreements to be able to utilize that for that purpose. But we would be working from with the easement rights that the landowner currently holds.
Should the council maybe could shed some light?
As part of this, it won't be on the Suffolk County Water Authority
Right.
property. We moved over to an easement that's owned by the property owner, who has an easement from an adjacent property owner who we have the permission from. So however we need to document that, it'll be documented. But currently the right-of-way has for probably 50 years cut through the Water Authority
Right.
property, but I think that will be adjusted now that this project's gonna happen. So the Water Authority won't be involved in
Okay, but you have
we have
certain
permission,
documents,
correct,
permits
yeah.
executed. Okay, good.
Another question for the attorney. This says it's in a residential zone.
CR 200, correct.
Is this one of the sand mines that may be part of the amortization changes that the board is looking at?
It is a currently DEC permitted sand mine. I've read that law. I don't have any clients who are not representing anybody who's directly impacted, but I assume this could be caught up in it, which may speed up our phase 2.
Further questions?
Is the land revegetated or remediated or anything, and then the solar panels are put on it, or is it basically?
Yes, and there's a remediation plan that we went through with the extensive, with the Pine Barrens Commission. And we can provide that as part of the ultimate
the application.
And can you go over who the adjoining property owners are again?
Sorry, the plan is just kind of upside down. We're looking at it's to the west, so it would be on this side of it. I think what we're seeing here is this is the parcel, this is the grass oil for us parcel right here, and then that is the kind of the line to the south and east. So, okay. Of course, this is the lease parcel that we're working with here. This is actually south, in this direction, Old Country Road. This parcel here is the Bidewee Animal Shelter location. These are industrial parcels here owned by the Grasso family, also a mining site this is to the west, with it's beyond Riverhead Road, just on the other side of that. So our easement cuts across Grasso's property to get out to beyond Riverhead Road. To the north is Sunrise Highway. Immediately adjacent to Sunrise Highway. And this is
To the east,
Pine Barrens property.
that's Pine Barrens.
Yes,
Okay.
that's Pine Barrens property here, and up a little further north of here is the Suffolk County Water Authority property that we mentioned. It's kind of a little further up that way.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, great. Further questions from the board?
Okay.
We have no speakers listed. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to be heard? Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom?
No one on Zoom.
Okay, this site plan will entertain a motion to close with a 10-day written comment period.
Motion?
Motion by Gloria, second by Tom. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? 5 yes, 2 absent. We can jump back. We have documentation now. We're going to jump back to, thank you, Marty. Thank you. We're going to jump back to 32 South Phillips, and we do have notice now.
We
Is
do.
that correct, Council?
Yes.
Okay, you're going to read, Tom?
Please take notice that in accordance with local law number 14 of 2022, a public hearing will be held by the Southampton Town Planning Board on Thursday, December 12th, 2024 at 6 p.m. at Town Hall, 116 Hampton Road, Southampton, and via video conferencing to consider the final application entitled 32 South Phillips Avenue. The application proposes a 4-lot subdivision of a 4-acre property currently improved with a single-family residence situated in the R40 zoning district in New York State archaeological sensitive area, 32 South Phillips Avenue, Remsenburg, Spionk, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-368-2-13.
Very good. Is there anyone from the, yes, hi, welcome.
Good evening. I am Deanna Fry, one of the owners of 32 South Phillips Avenue in Spionk. I'm presenting the application for the minor subdivision for the final approval. The expediter, Linda Secafico, surveyor and engineer, have worked closely with the town under the diligent guidance of Mr. Trezza. And he's been very diligent, as indicated by the number of revisions to the survey. 32 South Phillips Avenue passed to me, my sister and brother, from our uncle, Wesley Billick, at his death in February 2017. The 4-acre plus property was purchased and improved by our grandparents, immigrants from the Ukraine. They and their 3 children moved into the new home in 1927. Our mother was raised there and Uncle Wes lived there for the remainder of his life, excepting 4 years in the Army. Wesley Billick was a decorated World War II veteran, earning a Bronze Star. Uncle Wes was injured twice and placed back into action twice. He suffered from PTSD for his lifetime. The property was farmed by Uncle Wesley, raising gladiolas and peonies, which he shipped into the city. I remember the rows and rows of beautiful flowers and being admonished to running through them. Wesley Billick was 98 when he passed. At that time, my siblings and I decided to sell the property to be fair and equal to the 3 of us. The process has been a lengthy one, hampered by a change of expediters and the COVID. The property was first presented to the town for sale as preserved land or possibly a park. Consequently, in June 2017, the CPF Advisory Board recommended that the property be developed as per existing code. To make the property more attractive to a buyer, it was decided to have the property subdivided as a minor subdivision. In December 2018, an expediter was hired. The process progressed until December 2021. The expediter at that time fell seriously ill, and a second expediter was employed in April 2022. The application was refiled at that time and progressed at a reasonable pace. The Suffolk County Health Department approved the project in February 2024, and here we are today. Yesterday, my brother has passed away, and my sister's daughter died tragically, leaving 3 children, of whom she has custody. 32 South Phillips Avenue is under contract with Star Holding Company. I have personally visited several job sites, and the product is excellent, if not amazing. I feel the neighborhood will be greatly enhanced by the development. Although it is a bittersweet experience to sell the property that has been in the family for 100 years, we are confident that the buyer's product will be acceptable to the community and a fine tribute to 2 immigrants from the Ukraine. Seeing as life events have been less than gracious, we would be sincerely appreciative for prompt resolution. Thank you to Tony Trezza for his dedication to this project, and to you, the board, for your time and energy spent for the good of the community.
Sounds like it has quite a history.
I could write a book.
You could write it, probably should. I have no names on the sign-in sheet for 32 South Phillips. Is there anyone in the public who wishes to be heard on this application? Is there anyone on Zoom?
No one on Zoom.
Okay, then we'll try to keep this moving along we'll close with a 10-day written comment period. Do we have a motion? Motion by Gloria, second by David. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? We have 5 yes and 2 absent. Thank you so much for coming in. Sorry about the noticing glitch, but we got it done. Okay,
Thank you.
you're
Merry
welcome.
Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and best wishes to you all.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
health
Thank
to you
you.
and your family. Item 3 is Kim Lesser Boat Storage. Do we have notice, council?
We do.
Okay, I'm going to read that one. Please take notice that in accordance with local law 14/2022, a public hearing will be held by the Southampton Town Planning Board on Thursday, December 12th, 2024 at 6 p.m. Town Hall, 116 Hampton Road, Southampton, and via video conferencing to consider the site plan entitled 17 Allison Lane, aka Kim Lester. The application is for the creation of an off-season dry boat storage yard for approximately 22 boats in the predetermined area of 11,964 square feet located 100 feet from wetlands and does not include on-site repair and maintenance of said storage boats on a property containing a single-family dwelling fronting on a dug canal known as Foster's Creek and containing town-regulated tidal wetlands in the RWB zoning district at 17 Allison Lane, Hampton Bays, tax map number 900-323-5-9. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Hi. Susanna Herman and Consultants, 1319 North Sea Road, Southampton, representing Kim Lester. This property, 17 Allison Lane, has been in Mr. Lester's family for about 100 years, and they're trying to keep it in the family by having a small source of income on the property. There's currently a pre-existing home on the property, and what we're proposing to do is add a second use, which would be off-season or winter boat storage for about 22 boats that would sit on trailers. They would be brought in at the end of the boating season, stay there until the spring, where they would be removed from the property. The wetlands line is recently flagged. All the boat storage would be 100 feet or more from the wetland line. We're also proposing to do revegetation, to do a native buffer of up to 50 feet. You know, the existing house is much closer, so it bends around that. But there would be a native buffer, 100-foot setback to any of the boat storage. There would be no maintenance on the property or removing the oil or the antifreeze or anything from the boats at the site. They would simply be rolled in the winter and rolled out in the spring. We have a zoning variance for the second use on the property. And I think this board, you've seen it before. We need a special exception use and site plan approval.
Great. Any questions from the board? We have no one on the sign-in sheet. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to be heard on the boat storage, the Kim Lester boat storage facility? Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom?
No one on Zoom?
Very good. We'll entertain a motion to close with a 10-day written comment. Oh, I'm sorry. Is this this site plan? We can go with 10 days. Do we have a motion? Motion by George, second by Tom. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? 5 yes, 2 absent. Thanks, Savannah.
Thanks, Susanna.
Happy holidays. Item 4 on the agenda is 70 and 80 Scuttle Hole Road LLC. Do we have notice, council?
We do.
Very good. You're clear to read.
Please take notice that in accordance with local law number 14 of 2022, a public hearing will be held by the Southampton Town Planning Board on Thursday, December 12, 2024 at 6 p.m. at Town Hall, 118 Hampton Road, Southampton, and via video conferencing to consider the pre-submission conference application entitled 70 and 80 Scuttle Hole Road. The application proposes the development of 2 adjacent lots as created by the subdivision map of Haywood Scuttle Hole in 2019, each to be improved simultaneously with a new mixed-use 2-story, 3,000 square foot building with a basement on a previously improved Lot 1, number 70, measuring 22,427 square feet, and a vacant Lot 2, number 80, measuring 20,000 square feet, with shared access and to be used for office, educational services, and 3 workforce housing units in the OD zoning district at 70 and 80 Scuttle Hole Road, Watermill, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-102-1-5.1+5.2.
Great. Welcome.
Good evening. Brant Reiner from Nelson Brook and Voorhees here on behalf of the applicant. I do have some of the product design team members and product sponsors with me tonight. As very beautifully said, your product description is very detailed, so not too much more to go through. We have 2 adjoining lots within an office zoning district. One is developed with a single-family residence. We're proposing to remove that residence and reconstruct it with a mixed use, commercial office space on the first floor, mixed with workforce housing on the second floor, and possibly some additional office space on the second floor. On the vacant lot, which is 80 Scuttle Hole Road, we are looking to develop that with another mixed-use building. Again, the use on that building would be on the first floor, and the basement would be for an educational therapeutic use. It is a facility known as Hudson Helping Hands that is very a much needed use on the east end of Long Island for autistic children and their families. The idea is to create 1 common access point where normally 2 would be allowed for each of these lots being individual. Also creating a parking situation that would meet the parking requirements for each of the uses and the workforce housing, recognizing the shared housing opportunities when you have workforce housing on commercial properties. And again, the idea is that the buildings would be designed to be aesthetically pleasing, mixing into the surrounding uses that are there. This is an appropriate site for the uses given the transitional nature of the locations of the properties. You're moving, in this section of Watermill, you're moving from the high volume traffic areas of Montauk Highway north through Scuttle Hole into the residential portions of Watermill north of the railroad tracks. So again, the mixed use opportunities here is almost ideal for planning purposes. That is the application. I'm here to answer any questions if the board has any.
Brent, just looking at the notes, it's permitted with pending determination from Chief Building Inspector for schools and educational services not otherwise classified. Have you gone there and gotten that determination yet?
I have that letter. It was just came in yesterday, and
Perfect
I sent
timing.
it to Karina right before the meeting. So
Okay.
I have a letter from Sean McDermott, Chief Building Inspector, that recognizes the following proposal has been identified. The proposed mixed-use building will house an office, this is for the 80 Scuttle Hole vacant property. The proposed mixed-use building will house an office education services space on the first floor and basement levels, and 2 workforce housing units on the second floor level. Those are to be occupied by the landscape offices on the adjoining property. The first floor and basement levels will be occupied by Hudson Helping Hands for Autism, which will be used to care and support children with autism, special needs children. I feel this is again from Mr. McDermott, I feel this use falls under other schools and educational services within SIC code 829, which is a permitted use, not requiring special exception in the OD district in the town's business district table of uses, section 330-33. The workforce housing on the second floor falls under apartment and is a special exception in the town's business district table of uses, again, section 330-33, and must obtain site plan approval from the planning board. The workforce housing must comply with 330-158 of the Southampton Town Code.
Great, so you do need special exception for the apartments.
For the apartments, yes.
Great. The other thing is you're gonna bring in sewage credits, right?
So we are working with the town on the transfer of development credits to the site for the workforce housing units.
Okay.
If the workforce housing units were not part of this project and we're simply looking to do the commercial, we wouldn't need any sanitary flow. So the idea is we're asking the town to help us out. We want to get the workforce housing here, but we do need some help with the flow.
And then you're gonna need waivers of parking, I think.
So we heard what the board had to say. We are trying our hardest to get the parking all on the property. We are looking at land banking some of the spaces. I hesitated to put this board up because it's so high, but I will do it really quick. So we studied the plan in more detail, and this section where you come in the drive right here, we have the opportunity to put 3 more parking spaces, perhaps right there, perhaps squeeze one in right here as well. So we do feel that we could meet the town parking requirements and avoid any kind of variance opportunity. Again, recognizing the shared parking understanding when you have workforce housing with a commercial use on the property. You know, you sort of, the housing, sorry, the parking for the housing isn't utilized during the day when the office use is in use, and vice versa.
We like the green.
What's that?
We like the green.
Yeah.
And
We
the
can keep
variance the variance comes from the planning board, not from.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we could land bank those parking spaces, and again, it'd be up to the planning board to exercise the installation of them in the future if they felt it was necessary.
And the commercial building is all office. For some reason, I was thinking there was the apartments were in the commercial building, so.
There's apartments in both buildings.
Okay,
On the second floor.
got it.
So again, the 70 Scuttle Hole property is the one that's currently developed. That's the larger, more rectangular looking one. That will house the Hampton Yards Landscape administrative offices. They are a landscape contracting company, but they will not be using it for special trade contracting use. It's just their office space.
And the apartments will be affordable on both properties?
All workforce
Okay.
affordable housing.
Yeah.
Yep. The intention is they need housing for their employees.
Yeah.
And they wanna put them there.
Yeah, I just wasn't remembering both.
Yeah, that's I
And then
understand.
you're requesting a waiver for the transitional there along the railroad tracks, correct?
We are going to ask the board to consider the waiver for the transitional yard, recognizing that, you know, there really is no need for a transitional yard along that really.
Railroad track.
Because if you actually looked over the fence, it's just a gnarly mess of
Oh, yeah, I know.
vegetation there, so.
It is.
I think we had, very good discussion when you were here, previously. Something, and I don't remember if we discussed it or not, but emergency access, things are a little tight in there.
Mhm.
I don't know if going, talking to the fire marshal, and also then just truck access. I know you're not gonna have a lot of truck traffic in there.
Right.
But you might wanna especially think about the, what the fire marshal might require for, no emergency service vehicles, getting in and getting out of there.
Absolutely. It's on our list of things to do.
Okay.
Once we get past this, general nod of the board to say you guys are moving in the right direction, we have had our site engineering team, studying and designing this. We know it can function, but we do need those clarifications from the fire marshal. And we'll also be talking about the occupancy rating with the fire marshal as well, because there were some questions from the board about how do we determine the occupancy of the Hudson Helping Hand. We have a general understanding as to the staffing, so when we get to the formal site plan review layer, we'll be able to provide you guys with all that information.
Now, the landscape, that's only going to be administrative. It's
All
not their
administrative
truck.
offices.
Okay.
No special trade contractor use out of that
Gotcha.
site whatsoever. And, the board had asked about, whether or not there was a need for overflow parking. We, not me personally, the team has reached out to the church, which is the larger property across the street.
Yeah.
And they have given an indication that they are excited about the Hudson Helping Hand use and want to be part of joining forces to make sure that there's additional parking there if needed. When it comes time for a special event, they'll have the opportunity to park on the church parking lot if needed.
I have to commend you on the graphics. Really nice presentation and
That's
very
the quality
well
of design.
Very well done. Makes it very.
We appreciate that because it comes at some expense and time, but we wanted to show the town that this is a very important project to everybody involved, and we're giving it our best effort.
Well, we had the work session. That was very helpful because that was our introduction to the
Yes,
to the project. And
Yeah.
We had a lot of
and
good,
understanding
productive.
the need, which
It's a really great project for so many different reasons. Again, we have the mixed use in this transitional area. We're creating one curb cut where two could have been created if they came in as single and separate development opportunities in front of this board. And that Hudson Helping Hand use, I got to tell you, this is going to be, so many people are excited about this.
Yeah.
It really was an eye opener for me, and I couldn't be more proud to be part of it.
we've gotten some communication from the community.
Yes, a lot of support.
Positively,
A
so.
lot of support. Further questions for the board? We have two names on the sign-in, Kristen Teodoro.
She's actually representative.
Oh,
of Hudson.
okay.
She's here to answer
Oh,
questions.
and I guess the same for Gennaro.
And Gennaro is from the architectural team.
Okay, good.
Again, here just to answer questions.
And there's no one else from the public who wishes to be heard. Kevin, anyone on Zoom?
No one on Zoom.
Okay, this is site plan special exception. We'll keep this going along, maybe a 10-day written comment period, and let's get the ball rolling on this. So
Thank
can
you
break
very
ground.
much.
Very good. Do we have a motion to close at the 10-day? Motion by Gloria. Second by David. All in favor?
Aye.
I oppose abstentions.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.
you.
Thanks so much for coming in, folks. Thank you.
Thank you.
David, I'm not ignoring you. Give me speak
It's
eye.
fine, it's good, it's all good.
Okay. Item 5. Oh, you're up for reading too.
Yep.
Sabonic Training Center. We have notice, Council. We
We
do
do.
notice. David, you're free to read.
Okay, please take notice that in accordance with local law number 14 of 2022, a public hearing will be held at the Southampton Town Planning Board on Thursday, December 12th, 2024 at 6 p.m. at Town Hall, 116 Hampton Road, Southampton, and via video conferencing to consider the site plan amendment application entitled Long Island Automotive Collectors Sabonic Training Center. The application is to change the use from office storage in the existing 10,500 square foot building to a firearms training school situated in the HB zoning district at 315 County Road 39 North C, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-131-1-7.1.
Great. Welcome.
Good evening. David Kirst from Matthews, Kirst, Cooley, and Churon, here with Buddy Wines, a representative for Sabonic Training Center. This is pretty straightforward. There's an existing site plan approval that's already been mostly implemented. I believe inspections have passed for landscaping, parking lot. Everything's in. This proposal will not change anything outside of the building. There's no additional parking required. There's no different access. It's all the same. It's all previously approved. The use that we have is compliant with the parking that's already been approved as well. There will be no change from the general public. Everything is self-contained. We do have plans. I know we spoke at the work session.
Yeah,
There's a building inside of the building,
that's right.
concrete block, steel plates, rubber. So there'll be its own air system as well. There really won't be any noticeable difference from what's sitting there currently. And it is a permitted use, whereas the storage use was only allowed as a change from a non-conforming to another non-conforming. So we're becoming more compliant with zoning in this area as well.
And this is only for law enforcement, right? Not for open to the public?
No, there's school, there will be training as well. You can take courses for your concealed carry permit requirements, security. You can take for, like I said, for law enforcement, would have that available option as well. But there is a training aspect to it. So there would be supervised training on the range for students. There would be it's not an open club like the Maidstone or North Sea Gun Club or in Calverton where you can go in and just pay and fire some rounds. This is under supervised training for anyone who's on the range.
Will they also, I mean, we had a really extensive work session on this. Is there also this ability, we've seen recently how they need to gather information on ballistics, and they have special rooms where they actually fire the weaponry to gather ballistic. This came up recently in that New York City incident. I was just wondering if that's what's...
So this is a sample piece.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Remember I brought this, by the way, Buddy Wines.
Buddy, welcome.
465 Majors Path, Southampton. So this is a sample piece of the ballistic rubber soundproofing. Behind this is solid concrete walls, as well as a solid concrete ceiling that will be above it. So it's a fully encapsulated environment that any of the firearms would be discharged within. Even the air system would be separate from the rest of the building, and it circulates the air, cleans, and it actually will put out into the environment cleaner air than it's actually bringing in by the time it goes through all the HEPA filters.
Do you know whether they'll be doing that ballistic testing in there, like different law enforcement agencies? You know how they have to fire the pistol in a controlled room like that to get ballistics.
Our facility will actually be not just for law enforcement. It will be designed that law enforcement can use it for, let's call it 90% of what their different scenarios are, because it is a limited space. You know, they have other training that they would have to do elsewhere, but we are offering it to them, but it's not our primary use for the facility. Currently, there are on the 5 townships on the east end of Long Island. There are over 5,000 registered handgun owners. There's also in just the Southampton and East Hampton Township, statistics show 5% of your population are classified as shooters. That would put about 4,000 people that are active shooters in the South Fork of the island here. But there's nowhere for them to actually go and train. So if you have these weapons out there and people own them, you want to have somewhere that they can be proficient and learn how to use them properly. There was recently, as you've seen in the newspaper, somebody who accidentally discharged a firearm because they didn't use it properly. They actually were moving it around within their vehicle while they were driving. It's been all over the newspaper. It's been in the news. But it's situations like that people need education. You don't just get in a car and go without learning how to drive.
Right.
You know, yes, you drive every day, but people who don't drive for a while become rusty in how to drive properly. So if we don't have facilities for people to be able to properly train and know how to be safe with their firearms, and they're out there on the street, we're actually going to provide that service.
That's great. Any further questions for Mr. Wines?
I have a question.
Sure.
You said there are classes. Do you have to join a club, or do you have to, or can you just pay for a?
It's not a club per se.
Okay. So you just pay for a.
You pay for classes. You would pay for use of the facility. And there is always an instructor out on the range during the time that you're out there. So there is constant supervision, there's constant continuing education, I guess is the best word that I'm looking for. There are also specified classes that could be group classes. As David mentioned, there's concealed firearms. Anybody who has a pistol license for concealed carry is required to renew that and take the class on a regular basis. Security guards, whether they're armed or unarmed, are required to have annual training. We would offer those classes. There's a whole series of classes that we would have as a base class, and then there would be a constant other classes that people can come and take.
Or could I just go and say I want an hour of time?
You would have to, it's like a college, let's put it that way. You would have a tuition that gets you available to pick classes that you would be there during a certain amount of time. You can't just walk in off of the street unless you're going to take one of the pre-prescribed classes. So you couldn't just come in and say, I want to train for an hour and never come back. You would buy a series, let's call it.
Now, as the operator of this, do you have to be licensed by any agency?
So my partners, Pete, want to talk about this? Pete Pernagosi, Pete can speak further to the licensing requirements for this.
Good evening, Pete Pernagosi. My background is I'm a retired police officer, born and raised in the town of Southampton. I started back as a Southampton Village police officer in another lifetime back in 1992. Moved on, I was deputy sheriff for a number of years. While I was in the sheriff's office, I was trained as a firearms instructor by the FBI and the Suffolk County Police Department. It's been part of what I do my entire law enforcement career. I transferred to Southampton Town Police Department some years after that, where I continued my training. What trainers like me and myself, we came up with over these years is there's just not enough training for anybody. There isn't the facilities to do it, and that's police officers and civilians alike. Police officers generally train once or twice a year. They're outdoors. They don't have state-of-the-art facilities. They just don't have the budgets for it. So that was always a hole in the game that I saw in instructors like me. Said if we could create something somehow where, we know the agencies can't afford it, but if we could do like a private-public partnership where we could create this thing. On the same note was where civilians go. So my time in the sheriff's office, which is the licensing body for anybody who wants a pistol license in the 5 eastern towns. People go through the process, the background check, the application. It's kind of a pain. Somebody really has to be committed to do it. When they finally get their license, they would come in, and the first question that people would ask inevitably was, okay, now where can I go to train? And there's nowhere that you can train. No one offers this type of training. So, that was a light bulb to me many years ago. We have lots of handgun owners. We have lots of licensed pistol owners who have absolutely no training. And when you have no training and you have pistol license holders, you have the potential for accidents. Yeah. And that's what we've seen, in the news. And we see it a lot, and it happens across the country. So to be able to provide that service, to provide a training, a state-of-the-art training facility where we can both train civilians or someone who wants to be safe, someone who wants to decide that they want to carry a firearm, that requires another level of training. So we want to be able to provide all of that. And in addition, if we can help out these smaller agencies, Southampton Village has expressed interest. There's lots of smaller agencies out here that, for lack of a better word, they shoot in the dirt pit somewhere in inclement weather. There's no state-of-the-artness to it. That's what was done many, many years ago. So our plan is to work with law enforcement. Anybody who wants to participate, to come in, we're going to open our doors to them. And we're going to provide a training, basically a curriculum for someone who's never touched a handgun, who just wants to be safe. Hunters who fire long guns, who still want to be safe, who want to practice, maybe sight their weapons in so they're accurate and they hit what they're shooting at. And someone who just is a gun owner for a long time but wants to be more proficient, so they're more comfortable. Proficient and comfort is what we want with people who are firearms
Another big
holders.
thing we learned in the work session was these shells when you go out into the pine barrens and shooting in these pits, and then the casings.
So something I noticed, and The entire Suffolk County Police Department, the Police District, Suffolk County Sheriff's Office, and every agency on the east end of Long Island from Suffolk County out shoots into a dirt berm in the Pine Barrens.
Yeah.
I noticed it many, many years ago. I said, we're just putting lead into the Pine Barrens for years and years and years, and I haven't seen anybody come and reclaim that. The brass, we can pick up that spent brass, but most of it gets ground into the ground. This facility, nothing escapes, and everything is recycled. Every bit of lead is captured. It's reclaimed. We'll partner with companies that come in and clean professionally. They'll kick money back to us, so that's a recyclable. The air handling, the air is filtered to the point where it's hospital grade air. The air that comes out of our air handlers will be cleaner than the air we're breathing in this room right now. Nothing can escape. Again, another problem is in these training facilities, and this is all ranges, not just police and everywhere, it's an open air. There's a berm, maybe it's 15, 20 feet tall. If you point the gun in the wrong direction, the rounds go over.
Could we go back to an earlier question?
Sure.
Is the facility required to have a license? And
So
are
yeah,
they-
to that point, I'm sorry.
Are the supervisors or managers required to have a license?
So if for training, licensed instructors. So instructors are accredited in a number of ways. Me as one of the principals, I'm certified to teach in New York State as a police instructor, which is the highest level we can be. I'm also certified to teach and evaluate other law enforcement instructors. We'll have other like instructors like myself. The NRA, which is a national agency, also certifies instructors. So if someone wants to come in and they don't have a pistol license, they can shoot under the guise of a licensed instructor, whether it be a police Department of Criminal Justice instructor like myself or an NRA instructor. So there are levels of certifications. The instructors need to be certified if they're going to instruct. Management of the facility doesn't need any type of license for any of this. Obviously, New York state law, federal laws cover firearms in many different ways, and we have to comply with all those laws as well. So there's lots of regulation here, which is another part. We're going to assist people in complying with regulation. I think Buddy mentioned security guards. If you want to be a security guard, and I'm sure everybody in the town knows, you want to have a special event, you have a certain number of people, you got to have licensed security guards, right? They need this training. They have to be trained by certified trainers. So we're helping people stay in compliance. We're giving them an opportunity, number one, to get the training they need, to stay in compliance, to be proficient if they want. And we're not adding anything to the environment. We're actually, every round that's fired in our facility doesn't get fired into a dirt berm in the Pine Barrens.
Yep.
And there'll be no retail, so we're not adding guns to the community. We're just trying to take those people that are here and want to learn the right way and give them some place to do that.
Terrific. Really good. Further questions from the board? Kevin, do we have anyone on Zoom?
No one's Zoom.
Okay, I think we've covered everything, Buddy, and we're going to close with the 10-day written comment period then. Sorry. No, those are all the team members, and all the signing people spoke, so. We'll entertain a motion to close with the 10-day written comment, 10 days by Tom, second by George. All in favor? Aye, opposed? Abstentions? 5 yes, 2 absent. Thank you very much for coming.
Motion to close.
Motion to close by George, second by Glorian. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.